prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Welcome to And God Created Woman, where the arguments are necessary for the best make-up sex of your life. Unless you're single, and then we suggest you just go fuck yourself.
All right, guys, Dominic Izzo and God Created Woman podcast. We're back with another episode. We're talking with Anna Buteau. Did I pronounce that? Did I butcher that or did I pronounce that rightly?
It was good. It was good.
All right, thank you. How would you pronounce it again? I thought it was awesome how you did it.
Buteau.
God, it's fucking awesome. French sexy accent. You are a mindset mentor, coach, podcaster, and I ran across your stuff. I loved your energy and your content, and I said, dude, come on, let's have a conversation, a podcast. And you did. So number one, thanks for taking the time out to talk to us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thanking you for inviting me. Also, I'm very happy to be here and to, share what needs to be shared.
Excellent. Let's get into that, but give everybody a 360-degree view of who you are and what you do, what your passion is.
Okay, so as you know, I'm Anna Buteau. I am a mindset mentor or coach, if you prefer. I just like the idea of mentorship better than coach. I am completely passionate about mindset. Why so? Mindset is where people can really change everything that they desire. It starts with the mindset that they hold. I became passionate because back in 2019, I had I call an identity crisis, where I just found myself stuck in, the life I never actually wanted in my entire life. And I got I needed to work on things. I was already seeing a therapist due to, stuff that I need to sort out. But I understood that there was something missing. There was something that I was not doing. And I was still getting back to that wall of not having the life that I wanted. And I discovered the coaching space, and especially the mindset space, the self-development space. I dived into it, did a completely 360 in my life since then. And I have proof to talk about it, but it's quite intense. And now I just want to share that knowledge and look into, live life in possibilities, live life in the way that everybody is meant to live it. And it's through potential and thrive and wealth and whatever it is. And that's what I do.
Talk about what was a catalyst for getting you into not as far as like what you were going through, but what was an aha moment when you're going through mindset development? I mean,
okay,
what hits you?
Trigger moment. Okay, the greatest trigger moment. So I'm a big bookworm. Probably you kind of see it on the video, but I'm and when I was in that identity crisis, first things first is like, I wanted to get a book. That's kind of my default kind of way of doing. When things are not right, I seek information. And books is one of them. And I come across this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Just the title already, you get attracted to. But in that book, it was the section on victim mentalities and entitlement that triggered me the most. And that was my biggest aha moment, where it just struck me how I've lived my life through those lenses. And not only that, I was seeing how my whole, perception of the world was also living through those lenses. And this is, it's how I was able to take back responsibility of my own life, take back responsibility of my own growth, my own success, my own results, my own outcomes, my own every fucking thing. And this is where I am right now. And I just want to shatter that illusion as much as possible.
You're talking about personal accountability. How old are you?
I'm 33 years old.
You're that young and you understand personal accountability. Holy crap. Before we get in the meat of this, let's drive people to your stuff. you have a podcast. Talk about your podcast. Talk about your mastery coaching drive. Where can people wind up getting a hold of you if they have interest in what you have to say today?
So my main platform is Instagram. So if you want to really look into all of the content I distribute is pretty much there. Either that, Facebook or TikTok, and of course my podcast, Disrupting the Ethos, which is about shattering the illusion, or just, I just want people to realize the bullshit around victim mentality and entitlement, because it's getting way worse. And this is how we do it. And the idea is about always questioning the status quo, because if you never question the status quo, then nothing changes and nothing gets better and nothing keeps on moving. And it's all about having the discussions that we're not having.
All right. So let's have some today. Before we got on, I said, what do you want to talk about today? What's important? It's always important that my guests know when they come on, this is your show. Talk. I will interrupt if I need be, but just talk. What are some key things because the mindset community is saturated, right? It's like the personal training community. It's like anything else. Everybody wants to put their spin on it. But if you've identified that there's things that people aren't talking about, what do we need to start talking about in this space?
Okay. So my podcast actually, I had a first podcast, which was Your Fabulous Mind podcast. So it was just primarily talking about mindset mostly. But then there was something inside of me that was getting pissed off. And let's be honest, with the last 2.5, 3 years going on, a lot of things were showing up, and I was seeing a lot of things where I was like, damn, we're not having the right conversations. People are getting morally, offended for fucking everything. And it's like, there's a bigger problem there, and it's about having discussions. So, but I got so pissed because what I'm seeing, and especially in the coaching space, is we're talking about not having scarcity mindset, yet people sell, people talk, and people keep implementing the paradigms based through scarcity, victim mentalities, and I know you're in the MLM world, so we perpetuate the exact thing we're trying to teach people to not do. And they're not only that, they're keeping their clients in that space, which for me is actually completely, it's stupid.
See,
and then we're just perpetrating.
I like people like you who call out the bullshit in the industry. So if this is a platform for you to be like, this has to change, then let's do that. Because I'm glad you recognize this, because it's in my industry. I hate shit that is wrong. So I love the fact that you have an angle on this has to change. Then we need to hear what you have to say.
But not only that, it's like, we're already in a sick society, keeping people sick. Can we just get on with it and really solutionize and help people get better, be better people, and just serve? I'm going to take an example where I had a business coach where that person was literally like, make sure you're keeping your clients in coaching. What the fuck are you talking about? At some point, you need to go and fly on their own fucking wings. For me, it's like, I'll have a client for 6 months in a row, but then afterwards I ask, it's in the contracts, I ask them to at least take 3 months off, because at the end of the day, I'm not your mother. I'm not your babysitter. I'm not God either. I don't know who, I'm not going to hold you. You need to go out there, have failures, try it out on your own, not having always, you need to learn to be accountable also for yourself. It's not, I serve you in that accountability. I can be there in the first processes, but then you have to try to do it on your own.
So are you saying that there's, in every industry that is self-help, self-development, are you saying that there could be an attachment problem or a dependency problem that's created, and that some industries do, or some individuals do take advantage of that subconsciously, maybe to perpetuate money coming in? Is this, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous. I keep using this reference. A guest of mine said this a while ago. We hit on this. Wait a minute. How are you 15 years sober? But the first thing you say at the beginning of every meeting is, "Hi, I'm Dominic Israel. I'm an alcoholic." It's like you're reinforcing that behavior. So you have
not only the behavior, you're reinforcing the identity that you are. And it's the same a little bit thing is like, well, yes, we always need to work on things, but sometimes having, the break or the, kind of moment of trying to do it on our own or shift a different angle, I think it's just profitable for every fucking buddy, not only just for me, but also for the person. My goal as a coach or a mentor is to make you stronger independently as an individual in society. If I keep you always under my wing and under my coaching, then I'm not doing my job properly. I believe so. And a lot of people will say, you're spending on money. No, I'm not spending on money, because I'm offering different I'm offering, like right now it's only one-on-one, but I will be offering different offers in the future, different means of having work to do. But they don't need to be hooked on it like Coke or whatever it is. Like, I don't know what's the drugs of these days, or just even alcohol. And it's like,
well, now that drug is acknowledgement and validation. It blows me away that we're talking about this, because as you're saying this, I'm thinking of mentors I've had in business, in coaching, in sports, and I'm like, how many of these people, like, did we pay tuition and we were never taught X, Y, and Z because that was their primary income and they constantly needed a flow? It's huge in network marketing, because you brought that up. It's huge. It's the Pied Piper. This is a fantastic issue that you are willing to talk about and tackle. This number one, that gives a base of integrity. How did you identify this was a problem? And then how did you, in the beginning stages of your business, when yes, finance is important, how did you set the standard of saying, all right, I will not contribute to this problem?
Okay. First, there's two things that actually help me to identify and observe that kind of, quote unquote behavior or, paradigm or whatever it is. First, I started studying in psychology. I was actually doing, in the beginning of the COVID, I did my coaching certification, got NLP, got different things. And then I wanted to continue in psychology so I can help more people. So I would be like really a therapist, but also a coach, and having both. But here I'm from Quebec, Canada, and the system, the way it's built, it's really fucking complicated to actually be able to become a therapist. So you have to go through certain schools, and if you've done courses in this, they have to be recognized through this school, then it has to be recognized by the board, and it's like fucking mayhem. So again, like I said, we're a sick society keeping people sick, and it's like, that was one. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just go on the outside and just build my own fucking empire and just start doing there. And then there was myself got caught up with certain coaches where I was like, well, if you're not investing, then you're not growing. I'm like, wait a fucking minute. It's not because I'm not spending money on coaching, then I'm not going to have a business, or I'm not going to have what I want. Like, it's like, I cannot be always in this continuing process and also reaffirming every fucking time that I'm not enough, that I don't have enough yet to be able to be a certain point in my business. And the day I pulled actually that trigger, not only I pulled a lot of triggers last year. I pulled out of some coaching. I pulled out of my really toxic relationship I had personally. I pulled so many things out, and then boom, my business went like through the roof. And not only that, it taught me also that I needed to really restructure my business better, because I had a very big income, but I didn't have the structures, but I was able to manage. But that was the first thing, is like, at some point you have to be doing the work by yourself. And the thing is, it's not because I'm not investing that I'm not going to be growing. And investment also, it doesn't need to be specifically related to coaching. And we hear that in the coaching space a lot. If you're not getting mentorship, then you're not going to be able to whatever.
Yeah, I don't know where the mentorship industry came from. Did you notice a switch in results from clients when you when you started to sit there and say, okay, there's got to be a part where we cut the cord here. Did you notice some improvement?
I had a client, which was my first client, which he approached me on a personal level. I used to coach more coaches and entrepreneurs, but I was being approached more on the personal side, and I decided to, dive into that because I was approached. So I was like, yeah, that's an opportunity. Let's go there. And my client stayed with me for 6 months, and then I cut the cord, and he was probably one of the best results I had. So committed to doing the work, being disciplined and shit like that. And then he went out on his own, and he told me literally that it was the best thing it could happen, because now he could lean on himself and not on me. And it taught him to have more confidence in himself and his ability, and not always coming back towards me to question. And then, of course, I'm still there for that person, even though they're not purchasing or not part of my client base. Like it's still an ongoing client, but I check in once in a while, get some info, what's up, what's new, whatever. And that person is thriving. And that for me is the fucking paycheck. And not only that, to be able to see him, to rely on all the things that he has learned, and now learning new things by his own and experiencing things differently, perceiving things differently, and sharing that for me, then I've done my job.
And I don't think anybody should ever be ashamed of being paid for what they do if they're really good at it. And it's a walking advertisement for you. I think that's fantastic. I think it's the right way to build business. When we're talking about mindset, what are some of your favorite, are you allowed to have, this is my favorite problems to solve with people? Do you have any specific area that you really like? Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I've got a problem with my relationship, or I've got a problem with, I ruined this, or I do that. Do your eyes ever light up and go, oh, fuck yes, I love doing this?
Okay. I don't have because I just love the idea of testing and challenging perceptions. Basically, that's my job. And whatever it's the aspect, if it's relationship, if it's business, if it's work, I even had somebody with who I worked for their retirement. I had really different variety of people for different things. The thing is, mindset is applicable in every aspect. Like I call it like that. It's the strategies of all strategies, because it's true and it translates regardless of the aspect. So I don't have a specialty right now, though. I do appreciate talking about, I like to challenge right now more so the idea and concepts that we face in society based on relationships. I feel like relationships is a very underlying topic of everything's going on. And I like to challenge also a lot the feminine and masculine kind of talk of things. I think this has been quite a trend in the last couple of years. And in the beginning, I remember I jumped on it and really was into the idea of the energies. But then the more I got into it, the more I saw that, yeah, we're still perpetuating again, weird information. I would say conflicting information. And it's I like to challenge that talk. I just like to challenge any talk.
We live in a world where everybody wants that rewarding a human connection with one person, but then now our platforms are all on the individual. Me. Look at but then nobody wants to bond. Yeah, you're from a different generation. I think are you millennial or are you Gen Z?
I'm millennial.
Yeah, you're a millennial, and my generation didn't grow up with social media, and I was talking to my co-host on my show the other day. We came from a time where if you were somebody, you were on the cover of People magazine or the TV Guide. Now it's like you create your own somebody. How bad has the overused word narcissist, how bad has narcissistic behavior come in and corrupted the things that you're passionate about talking about, the energies and everything else?
Yeah, well, the narcissistic talk, actually, it's we have to understand. I think first we need to understand that narcissism is a spectrum, like everything in life. Everything falls on the spectrum, and you fall at somewhere in that spectrum. Now, you may have aspects in your life where you're maybe more dominant in the narcissistic behaviors, and you can be less dominant, like it's less, I would say, projected in certain situations. And of course, social media has amplified a certain extreme of the spectrum. And not only that, a lot of it, I think, has also overflowed and poisoned other aspects of our lives. Where if we take it through relationships, like everybody's boasting about their relationships online. Like, oh, look, he's the man of my life, or she's the woman of my life, and blah, blah. And
for this like block of 3 months, right?
And it's like, it's, and there's nothing wrong with it per se, but I think it's like people have to understand where is the intent. I talk a lot about intent in everything that I do, because then why are you pushing it like that? Why are you saying those things? And it's like, do you actually need to be doing that? Like, it's like, is it really unnecessary? Like I was asked lately, because I am in a relationship, but that relationship is not shown online because I just desire to keep my relationship private. And it has nothing to do with my business. Like whatever my man and I do, it's like, it's nobody's business. I like to keep things a certain way personal. And it's not because we don't want to showcase each other. It's not because we don't want to share. We're both building businesses, and we're focusing on building our businesses, our name, or brands. So, and our relationship is not part of that right now. And it's fine like that. And it's a choice. And we're comfortable like that. We don't need to be boasting. And it's like, well, it's weird because he's not really implicated. How do you fucking know he's not implicated? How do you fucking know? We know fucking nothing. And social media should really teach us that we fucking know nothing more than anything else in life. And it's like, because at the end of the day, I always choose what I share, what I don't share. And let's be honest, we probably don't share 95% of our lives on it. And I think people are just basing all of their illusions and ideas and criticisms and on just something. So things that are trivial for starters, and only based in 5% of what it is.
It's perception though, right? Perception's reality, and social media is not going to go anywhere unless, the meteor hits and all of a sudden we have no power and electricity and all that stuff. But the lines they're not blurring, they're blurred. How you're in a field where your job is to help people, but they leave your office. The reality is the fresh air, the drive home, all this. Then you pop on social media, and a good 4 to 5 hours of your day is spent scrolling. That's reality. How much damage is still trying to keep social media not reality doing? Meaning, we keep saying social media is not reality. It kind of is. So how much damage are we doing from still trying to fight those two polarized aspects and not just accepting, hey, part of my life, my perception is you're going to see who I am online, and that's who I am to you.
Yeah.
So how much damage are we doing?
Well, I think for me, it comes to boundaries and understanding what it actually is. Like, what is we talk about relationships. Let's talk about the relationship we have with social media. Like you say, people can spend 5 hours, but you're spending 5 hours doing what exactly on social media? I know, for sure, I'm on social media, but I have to be honest. What I'm doing is pretty much posting my own shit. So am I really spending my time comparing myself, or am I nosy trying to figure out what X person is actually doing? If I'm looking at people's content, am I being inspired? Is that what is it supposed to give us? And I think it's more so of understanding what is our relationship with social media. For starters, I think we have to understand what is social media for us. For me, it's a platform to broadcast my voice and my message. It's a place also where I connect. I connect with people like you, or I connect with friends, or I connect with family members, and I connect with clients. And it's a place where I can connect with people from all around the world, which is, let's be honest, it's quite amazing. Mm-hmm. And there's good. And I can be inspired. I can laugh my ass off, and especially with all the meme shit going on, and I love it. And it's like, there's a lot. There's entertainment. There's shit. And the shit that we see, unfortunately, is a reflection of human beings. Like, we're everything. We have a shadow side and we have a light side, and we see all of it online. And it just needs to come down to understanding, what is that relationship? Where are the boundaries? How do you want to work it? Like, for me, it's really important. I'm 2 hours every fucking morning where I cannot touch my phone. The only thing I do with my phone in the morning is either putting some, I listen to sounds, frequencies, and texting my man saying, hey, good morning, my love, or whatever it is. That's the only thing I do with my cell phone
How do
for
people,
the first 2 hours.
How do people prevent from, I guess, confusing their identity, right? I put up an online identity, and it's me. I've accepted there's parts of me that is me online. The cursing, the hard aspect, this and that. Behind scenes, if people know me in the time I'm not online, I'm quiet. I am a very high functioning introvert, and people are like, you're not like what you are online. Is that no, that's me, but I've accepted that it's a role that, not a role. It's just a side
it's
of
an
me.
archetype.
Okay.
I work a lot with union archetypes. I'm actually studying them right as we speak, because it's truly what it is. Where every archetype that, if we look into the union, for starters, there's 12 basic archetypes. For men, there's 4, and for women, there's 7. So there's kind of this kind of mix up. But we all hold all archetypes. And then there's certain situations, certain aspects, certain environments, there could be an archetype that rise more up, some that are more subtle. We have predominant ones. Sometimes we hold more of the light of the archetype, sometimes more of the shadow. It's a very complex thing. And the thing is, that's the thing. It's like, for me, same on social media. Like, for sure, we're the only one there on our platform. Let's be honest. So for sure, when I talk on my social media, it feels like I'm all around. But when I'm in a public situation, maybe I can be more I can speak more. Sometimes I'm more quiet. Sometimes I'm more like a loner. It depends. But we're everything. And yes, there may seem certain different, but like I said, social media only shows like approximately maybe 5, maybe 10%, depending on people, of their actual who they are and what they are in their lives.
Do you think social media is that could be good for us then? A lot of people contribute the bad to social media. So if this is a platform for somebody to express themselves in an unhindered, this is awesome. Talk more about this, please.
Well, the thing is that I think, what exactly do you want me to talk more
meaning
about?
That we keep hearing bad social media, and just the avenue that I'm going with this is I'm listening to you talk about our archetypes, because as you're speaking, I'm going, shit, who am I when I'm projecting this online? Who am I projecting when it's just me smoking a cigar doing nothing? Who am I when I'm around my family? I'm going, because for a long time, the energy that I put on social media, it is an echo chamber, right? And every now and then, it's probably every few months, I catch myself and I go, you're spewing the same shit everybody else is. You're perpetuating negative energy. It's hatred. It's exhausting. Cortisol. You're getting fat. You're getting stressed. All this because this phone is giving me a platform to unleash a side of me that in a well-behaved society, I wouldn't be ranting at the top of my lungs in a room full of people. And so I used to think this is a bad platform. Is this a good platform? Is this good for me to get that side of me out there? Is this something that does need to be developed, and do people need to be aware of it and grow it, if you will?
Okay. So it's a very interesting question because, and not only that, I think there's more to it than what you're speaking about. And I think the true question is like, because what I'm hearing from what you're sharing is more of a shadow side like being, I would say more predominant when the using of the platform. Mm-hmm. So what does this mean? Like, where does this come from? Why is I have all of this, hatred, anger, whatever it is coming out? And especially why here? Why do I want to come out and do this? Is there something I'm actually repressing? Is this something because I'm not speaking maybe in other situations and I'm using this kind of microphone to actually say it out loud. And it's a really interesting question, because then we have to, like, it's multidimensional for sure. But that, because I remember where there's times where I sometimes just want to blur out, like, everybody is a fucking idiot. And I kind of want to restrain myself, because, like you say, in a normal quote unquote situation, not on a platform of social media, I wouldn't be saying that. But the thing is, I actually do. But
you're hitting on something. I'm far more reckless online than I am in public. And a lot of people who see me in public, they're like, I didn't realize that you're kind. I'm like, what? Well, you're ranting this, and I understand. Yeah, I'm a very reckless person online that says whatever he wants, and that could be destructive, but it's also catapulted me to attention for others.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's nothing bad about it per se. I think it's just understanding where is your limit in doing so, because at some point, like, sometimes we can take it far. Shadows can take us very, very far down roads that maybe we don't recognize ourselves, and it feels off for us. And it's understanding that where are your, like, it's understanding our values underneath it. And yes, when to push it and when to actually restrain it. It's where the line is for you about that. And I think there's nothing wrong about, being that our shadows are part of us. We cannot deny them. We cannot repress them. We cannot say, oh, I'm going to put it in a closet. Like, we all have our shadows. I have mine. You have yours. Everybody has them. It's just about accepting them and knowing where the line is to be drawn about maybe where you go as far of using that shadow, because at the end of the day, our shadows are there to showcase. And I think if you would bottle it up, it would be worse.
Does it hurt? Does this acknowledgement or branching off of one archetype and another, does it hurt the progress you try to make with clients by them compartmentalizing certain behaviors with certain personas, so to speak?
Actually, I think we have to look at more in not segmenting or defining ourselves about that. I think we have to look at more as a maybe guide of, maybe of understanding something behind us. I'm going to take, I can take just a couple of examples. I'm going to use the feminine archetypes to just talk about me, to just, put in context. So like I said, there's 7 women archetypes. So there's the wild woman, there's the wise woman, there's the mother, there's the maiden, there's the huntress, there's the lover, and there's the queen. So those 7 archetypes, I have all of them inside of me. And my predominant ones are the huntress, the wild woman, the wise woman, and the mother. These are my 4 predominant ones, the ones that I just naturally kind of, spill into. And that's just part of my personality. I have all the others. For example, the lover one, well, it's going to be used only in one specific aspect of my life, probably. I am a lover of life, especially nature. It is showcased, but it's still not a predominant one. But if I look at the 4 predominant ones, I'm going to take the wise woman. The wise woman, I have a more tendency to be on the shadow side of it, where I tend to be very frustrated when I'm not perceived as an intellectual woman. So this is a big shadow side of me. And sometimes that one spills out a little bit more in certain contexts. For example, I went on a couple of rants a couple of months ago about that on my social media, where I was just pissed because, like, I'm tired of men just, looking at women as a piece of fucking meat. And it's unfortunately part of society, and it's part of life. We cannot deny it. And then it's like, still, that was part of myself in conversations that happens where I get triggered, because that part of me is sometimes a lot triggered, because it's like, wait a minute, we're talking here. We're having a conversation. Don't you want a conversation? It's like, no, okay, then just fucking move on. I'm not interested. And I get really triggered about that. So these are the things I know about myself. Now there's other things, of course, but it's just about sometimes understanding where things come forth. And also, I think it's a great way to perceive metaphorically. I'm not able to say that word, but in a more metaphorical way of perceiving where we can work. Also, it's great opportunities to work. So I had, for example, if I take my wise woman shadow side, it's a great opportunity for me to learn how to be less triggered by it, and also not putting energy and stock to also when I am triggered and how can I shift this. It's maybe because, you know what, their experience with a wise woman, or for a woman who's more intellectual than maybe they've ever encountered. I don't know. Like, I have no clue. And is it on me? Is it my fault? Do I need to prove anything? And then there's a whole sequence of healing that can come forth from there. And I think this is where archetypes can help. Now, like I said, we shouldn't define ourselves in that and be attached to the identities that they may hold. But I think they can help us to see opportunities of growth, opportunities of help, but also understanding more certain behaviors that we have.
I want to hear what the men's are too, but based on what you said, are we talking there's 7 or is there 14, and is it 4 or 8? Because you talk about light and shadow. Well, if you're the shadow, a wise woman, and then you could probably flow into the light over time. This is extremely dynamic. Before you get into the males,
only that, using maybe another archetype, for example, the wild woman. This is one of the wild. I am very predominant in this one. I'm more on the light side of that archetype, but using also those traits to counterbalance the shadow side of the other one, also of like leaning into a more, detached way of thinking. So that is one that I use sometimes to help me kind of counterbalance or, kind of harmonize. I like more that word. And for men, actually, there's four archetypes. So there's the lover, the magician, the king, and I'm missing one. I'm going to say the jester, but I'm not sure because I'm mixing maybe I'm mixing the 12 predominant.
Now, as you're looking that up, let me promote you really fast here. You can go over to Spotify, and Disrupting the Ethos podcast is on Spotify. It's also on Apple. Disrupting the Ethos podcast. Make sure you check that out. We're talking to Anna Buteau today. It's ANNA.BUTEAU over on Instagram. Make sure you give her a follow and check out everything she's doing.
Thank you so much. So it's the warrior, king, warrior, magician, and lover. So these are the main 4 male archetypes. I'm actually studying them. I just went through a lot of training through the women one. I'm learning through the men's one because I think it's really interesting because especially with human psychology, we hold anima and animus energies. So feminine, masculine energies. It's pretty much how it is. So like I'm trying to learn because some women are more dominant or masculine or whatever it is. I don't quite care. It's just, like I said, it's a great way and tool to sometimes just help us understand and sometimes heal.
It's identifying that. I like this because so many of us, well, that's just who I am. You have to accept me. All right, well, help me understand who you are so I have an easier time interacting with you in this connection. I wish more people talk about this.
And the thing is that type of kind of like, I'm just like that. Sometimes I feel it's a little bit, not taking responsibility of things, not owning certain things. Of course, there's things that won't change about who we are. Like, I can become a real bitch when I want to. You know what? That probably won't change because I've learned that at some point I need to draw my line and put my foot down and just be the bitch. It is what it is. But can I actually be better at when I'm using that bitch? For sure. Like is that
the light and the dark balance and shifting from one to the other?
And I would say more like harmonize. I like more the idea of being more in harmony with them, because harmony for me, there's more of a bigger acceptance of understanding that we have our faults. For example, I'm going to take my stubbornness. I am quite stubborn as a person naturally. But in some periods of my life, stubbornness can be hard and can be quite self-sabotaging maybe in certain aspects, but there's other aspects in my life. Being stubborn has actually fucking helped me a lot. So it's like, it's understanding like the nuances behind the shadow and behind the light. Then we create harmony. And this is natural law, because at the end of the day, like, it's called the law of polarity, and understanding that law is actually quite interesting, which actually goes with that kind of topic. It's understanding that sometimes you polarize, and then it's a mixing of energies. I'm going into quantum stuff. So
no, this is fantastic. Let's talk about some solutions, right? I always like to take like the last 15, 20 minutes to talk about solutions. You've recognized, I'm sure, that we have a massive problem with a lack of male men there today. Well, if you're studying the 4 male archetypes and then the balance and harmony between them, if you're offering a general, like, right, we'll start with general. What is your main identified problem between the connection between men and women, or lack of male leadership, the rise of women thinking femininity or feminism, all that? What are some of your main identifiable issues that you have with where we're at right now with men?
First and foremost, I think the main, I would say, predominant underlining issue with this is it's become a pissing contest. And what I mean by that is that men or women cannot thrive with just themselves. Men need to be men, women need to be women. And understanding that when you put two together, it actually creates harmony, creates peace, creates many things. It actually fucking creates life. If you really want to go down to that road, at the end of the day, this is how we're created. And I think that's where we've lost a lot. So men need to be, I think, come back to certain, I would say, core values of what a man is. And I can take the example of the 4 archetypes: the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. When you harmonize all 4 of them, you can be a very thriving man. As women, when we actually combine every one of them, then we can thrive as women. I truly believe that we have to understand what are our roles, what are our underlying values and core values, and what does represent a man, what does represent a woman, and understanding that it takes both to make the world function.
Can you really briefly, because I'm not familiar with the magician, can you really briefly generalize the 4 archetypes of being a male?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the king, so leader, of course. The warrior is really the one that is the action pusher, the one that goes up front and does what needs to be done. We love warriors. Well, the wild woman is like the warrior kind of. So that's why I'm truly, I think, a warrior woman. The magician is more of the spiritual side of things. So the one that actually, will concoct, solutionize, think, analyze, and
I can already see the dark side of that being the manipulator. Oh God, I could see that being a problem.
Well, also it's a little bit of the quote unquote semi-spiritual, intellectual kind of archetype also. And then the lover. So every man wants to be loved. Every man wants to be adored.
Is that still safe? Can we still do that? When you're talking about these a few minutes ago, one of the things I was wondering is, clearly as we grow and evolve, we become the same person, but we grow, right? I'm not the same kid I was when I was 18, 28, 32. Right around mid-30s, I started to change and I started to become less of an idealist in the world. It could have been the cop in me. It could have been the cynic in me. But all of a sudden, the guy who loved watching the hopeless romantic films, reading the books and the novels and thinking that love cured all, that guy went away. And that guy, and it could have been through burnt relationships. It could have been through what I saw as a police officer. Could have seen, but now that man, somebody was talking about, when are you going to start dating again? I'm like, I have no desire to. I have no desire to, because I'm older. I know that like affection, which I craved so much as a younger man, now it's kind of like that makes me like jump like a cat in a room full of tinfoil. So do we evolve over time? in each one of those archetypes flow in and out, and can we steer which one we want to flow into?
Yeah, the answer to all of your questions is yes. And the thing is, of course, experiences contribute a lot. Like you mentioned about your relationship. So right now you're kind of it's like, I'm not looking. And I think, and I understand maybe why you're saying that, because I was like that myself until I've finally understood of what standards I wanted in a relationship, which hence has attracted me a man of those standards. And let's be honest, standards are not quite high in general in our society, and especially in the relationship part of things. We have 0 standards. Well, either we have, I would say, quite trivial and superficial, I would say, standards, but not profound, based on values, based on standards, based on true, I would say, tangible things.
Is that fear is that out of fear because we're afraid to set those standards for going back to things? I
think they were lost. I just think it was lost through time. Like hearing people of our age, well, especially my age, of being in a relationship for over 20 years is quite non-existent, or very, very rare. And not only that, we have taken away the man of the house. That was intentionally done. And then we have personally attacked women. Now we're reaching out for our children and brainwashing them in weird things and taking them away what is the feminine and what is the masculine in their life, what they actually represent, who they're there for. And then we have no fucking clue, whether it's being a man or being a woman, what should that partner be at? Because also we're being sold that the grass is always fucking greener elsewhere.
Can we steer our standards or attract our standards by steering ourselves to the archetype we want?
It starts with us. It all starts with us. I was in a very toxic relationship. I was with a man who, I was 4 years where he had narcissistic behaviors. That also tends to show that I was prey to that. So that means I was in a vibration, and I was also having behaviors that would attract that type of people, right? So I've worked on myself of up-leveling my standards of myself. So it starts with, okay, so I don't like somebody who's like that. So I have to identify the opposite and then become it. And it starts like that. And then what happened is I've met people, and then there were a lot of people who are emotionally unavailable for anything. So they only want the physical side of things, but they're unavailable for emotional. And I think you shouldn't be available for any, I would say, attention if you're not available emotionally. You cannot cut emotions out. I don't believe in that anyways. But I finally attracted somebody who was to the level of standards, because I wanted somebody who's intellectual. So if we're not having any intellectual conversation, I'm not available for it. If we're not having any spiritual talk, then I'm not available for it. If you're not into self-development, then I'm not in for it. If you're not there to build something, create something, and participate in the world, then I'm not there for it either. Like, it's like, and if you're not taking care of yourself, whatever it's physical, spiritual, emotional, or intellectual, I'm not available for it either. So it's like, I became so clear, and I am somebody who was clear also. I didn't want to fling. I didn't want to, it's either a relationship or nothing, or friendship or nothing, period. So it being clear, getting back to standards, getting back to what is the value and what is it that we want. A lot of people don't even know what the fuck they want. They have an ideal of what a relationship is that was sold in many shapes, ways, and forms throughout our society and throughout the years. And we've just lost truly like questioning ourselves. Is this what I want? Like for me, I don't want the typical quiet family of having a house. I will have dogs, but like, but like, I don't want it. Like, I don't have a typical life right now, and I'm not looking to have one. I tried to have one and got myself crazy. So for sure, I have to look at the man with who I am in my life. He cannot have that same vision. Like we have to have a same vision. We have to have a same lifestyle. We have to have the same standards for ourselves. Hence, we'll have the same standards for the other. I think it goes in hand with that. And it's being clear on all of this. And a lot of people don't even know what the fuck they want.
It goes back to, again, the root is always going to be communication. We're talking a lot about individual work. There are people who, I have to remember half the time that there's a lot of people out there who are in relationships that they don't want to be in, they want to improve them. Can you do this type of work, self-improvement, in an environment of a relationship that you may be stuck in? I could picture so many men and women who are in marriages and they got the spouse who nags or he complains and bitches. He or she wants to work on themselves. They're going to be in a toxic environment nonstop. You know, what are you improving yourself for? Can an end result be that person can improve themselves, elevate themselves, successfully leave, or improve their current relationship? Can this kind of stuff still be done in the course of a connection?
I believe so. My previous relationship, that was what happened, is that I was trying to up-level myself, get myself out of my rut. Like I said, my back in 2019, I was with that man. So and it got hard. At the beginning, it was easy because he was all for it. But then at some point, it shifted. And now I was trying so much to up-level me, and he was kind of dragging me in some shape, way, or form, and not intentional. Like that, like, I just want to clear that thing up. Like sometimes a lot of it is unintentional, and it's like we're just not at the same place. And then it's it becomes a choice. I think it becomes a choice. I chose my choice, and I'm actually really, really, really happy about my choice. I know I did the right thing, but I do believe that sometimes when you are working as an individual on yourself, it may affect the other, because at some point, like the other is like witnessing. I believe that's what happened, is like he witnessed I was getting better, was getting less triggered, I was getting happier, and he had nothing part of it. And he got, I would say, maybe he just said, no, she's not going to be happy because I'm not part of any of it. So instead of contributing to the good, he was actually trying to bring bad. So I didn't have the good. So I think that's the process that happened. Again, I don't know, and I don't want to know. It's in the past, but I think this was happened, and I think that can happen. But also I think some people, and whatever it's man or woman, see their spouse getting better. They're like, wait a minute, like I should be doing the same. Like he's getting happier. He wants to and then it's like, you know what? I should get involved with that. And I think that at some point there can be that return. It really depends on each person. I think it depends on, and it's really dependent on what the relationship is. Like if they're communicating together, and maybe not the 100% good communication, but still there's a bridge of communication. I think that can happen. I believe so. Like I see me and my man right now, we are for our individual work as much as we are for our work together. And it's a very important thing for each other, and we support each other in our individual also enterprises. 1 + 1
does not equal 1. It equals 2. And even I fell victim to that as a kid. You know, you start dating and you think, oh, you got to become one. You can't. You have to contribute to that. I want one more question I'm going to ask. Before that, let's plug everybody. If they want to find you, follow you, work with you, how can they wind up getting a hold of you?
Yeah, just message me either on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. There's also, regardless of where you find yourself, you have access to my email. Even on my podcast, I always share my email. You can write there for here. right now I'm offering one-on-one coaching. I've reopened some new spots, and I'm working on something brand new in the next couple of weeks that will be all on mental discipline, which I'm really excited to share.
And if you're watching, I just showed you the link so you guys can look at all that on there. All right, last question. So somebody is interested in working with you. The pre-work, what should somebody do to come to the table to you, or should they come to the table to you and say, hey, this is the things I've identified that I want to work on? Or should just somebody come to you and go, hey, Anna, I'm a mess, I need help? What is easier for you to connect with a future client or potential client for them to partner with you?
They have to be committed as fuck. That's the only thing I ask at the table. I don't care what's your finances. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what is your actual story. I just want you to be fucking committed to do the fucking work and shift everything. That's the only thing I ask at the table.
I think that's pretty fair, and that's pretty awesome. This was an awesome conversation. Didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, and I loved you triggering some things in me going, all right, I forgot that's who I was, and that's who I'm becoming. We're going to have you back on for part 2 of this.
I would love to.
Oh, we have so much to talk about. Guys, hope you guys enjoyed this. And God Created a Woman podcast. I'll see you guys in the next episode.